February 1st, 2015. Jeb Bush has become the GOP frontrunner for 2016. So now what? Walker surging in Iowa poll as Bush struggles. Rand Paul slams Bush hypocrisy on pot. Our loud, proud left. Woman says she was pushed to the floor by a ghost after security cameras filmed her being thrown to the floor when nobody was near her in Chile. February 2nd, 2015. CDC warns of large outbreak of measles. Christie says parents should have choice on vaccinations. GOP holds security hostage to immigration. Obama wants a new tax on U.S. companies' overseas profits. John McCain stands by Sarah Palin. Mitch McConnell's way. Oil prices rally above $53 as investors pile in. The alarming thing about climate alarmism. February 3rd, 2015. Measles outbreak proves delicate issue to GOP field. Vaccination debate flares in GOP presidential race alarming medical experts. Rand Paul says vaccines can lead to mental disorders. Hillary says the science is clear on vaccines. Obama supports vaccines now, but pandered to anti-vaxxers in 2008. Poll says Iowa Republicans side with Obama after Huckabee's Beyonce attack. Obama budget extends Social Security benefits to all married same-sex couples. Killed for being gay. ISIS savages blindfolded man and threw him off tower block, then stoned him to death when he survived the fall. Nancy Reagan turned down Rock Hudson's plea for help 9 weeks before he died. Staples and Office Depot in advanced talks to merge. February 4th, 2015. Jordan pilot hostage Moaz al-Kasasaba burned alive. Jordan hangs 2 al-Qaeda prisoners after ISIS video shows Jordanian pilot burned alive. Moussaoui calls Saudi princes patrons of al-Qaeda. Iranian president says nuclear deal with the West is getting closer. GOP on immigration. There is no plan B. Bush to pitch reform conservatives in Detroit. Reformicons put new twist on tax debate. A BB boycott? Senator says restaurant employees shouldn't be required to wash their hands. 5 dead after Metro North train collides with SUV. February 5th, 2015. Overturning Obamacare would change the nature of the Supreme Court. Here's how the GOP would repeal and replace Obamacare. Hard to kill the ACA. Affordable Care Act enrollment near 10 million. How Brian Williams' Iraq story changed. Pentagon 2008 study claims Putin has Asperger's syndrome. The Return of Evil, the late hero of the movie American Sniper. February 6, 2015. With an apology, Brian Williams digs himself deeper in copter tale. Critics pounce after Obama talks crusades and slavery at prayer breakfast. White House defends prayer breakfast remarks about the crusades. As Ukraine crumbles, U.S. wonders if Putin has Asperger's. Lawmakers to Obama, arm Ukraine now. Israeli official suggests Boehner misled Netanyahu on Congress speech. House and Senate on DHS impasse. After you. The internet is full of men who hate feminism. Here's what they're like in person. February 7th, 2015. ISIS declares airstrike killed a U.S. hostage. Why Obama invoked the Crusades and what it says about how he views terrorism. Joe Biden skipping Benjamin Netanyahu's speech. Insider says Obama administration sent a message to black Democratic lawmakers that they should skip Netanyahu's speech to Congress as Biden says he'll be a no-show. House to probe White House role in FCC's net neutrality proposal. Allegations against Oregon governor troubling, says Attorney General. Saddam Hussein's hanging noose up for auction. Want Elon Musk to hire you at Tesla? Work for Apple. February 8th, 2015. Obama administration issues 5.5 million work permits to non-citizens. Critics call it shadow immigration system. Stream of foreign wealth flows to elite New York real estate. We shouldn't believe Williams' lie was an innocent mistake. White House defends prayer breakfast remarks about the Crusades. February 9th, 2015. Same-sex couples begin marrying in Alabama after U.S. Supreme Court action. Gay marriage cleared by U.S. High Court to start in Alabama. First take, handwriting on the wall for gay marriage. Israeli leader faces pressure to cancel U.S. Congress speech. Axelrod says Obama knew prayer breakfast remarks would provoke. Axelrod says Hillary has to run like an insurgent. RNC launching Hillary's hiding campaign. NBC's Brian Williams told varying versions of rocket fire in Israel-Hezbollah war. ISIS recruiter once freed from Gitmo by U.S. killed in drone strike in Afghanistan. Obama on American politics and economy, the conversation. February 10th, 2015. School worksheet tells kids GOP thinks helping poor waste of money, parent claims. Democrats suffering from Clinton fatigue say they're ready for Warren. How long will Jeb Bush hold his fire on his Republican rivals? New Jeb Bush chief technology officer deleting old tweets about sluts. Meet the unusual plaintiffs behind the Supreme Court case that could destroy Obamacare. Was Brian Williams a victim of false memory? Netanyahu considering changes to Congress speech after criticism. Assad says Syria is informed on anti-IS air campaign. The girls raised by the wrong mothers, two French women who discovered 10 years after giving birth that their babies were switched in hospital blunder, are awarded €2 million by court. Stripping a professor of tenure over a blog post. February 11th, 2015. 3 Muslim students shot to death in apartment near UNC Chapel Hill. Obama to seek war power bill from Congress to fight ISIS. Obama sends Congress request for military force against IS. Rebels reportedly seize U.S. vehicles after Yemen embassy closes. Jeb Bush's chief technology officer resigns after racially insensitive comments. Obama defends his legacy. These are the kinds of things you learn. Obama says, I didn't mislead voters on gay marriage. NBC News. Brian Williams suspended for 6 months without pay. Exit Jon Stewart. February 12th, 2015. 60 Minutes Bob Simon killed in car crash. CBS News correspondent Bob Simon, 1941 to 2015. Within NBC, an intense debate over whether to fire Brian Williams. Ruth Bader Ginsburg thinks Americans are ready for gay marriage. Albright says Bibi interfering in U.S. politics. First on CNN. Philadelphia wins bid to host the 2016 Democratic National Convention. Glimmer of hope for Ukraine after deal at Minsk Peace Summit. Unease grows as Hillary Clinton stays on the sidelines. February 13th, 2015. David Carr, media equation columnist for The Times, is dead at 58. Ginsburg says, I wasn't 100% sober for State of the Union address. High Court's odd couple on parasailing, elephants, and not being 100% sober. FBI director acknowledges hard truths about racial bias in policing. Transgender former Navy SEAL plans to challenge second-ranking House Democrat in Maryland congressional primary and snipes that religion is going to destroy the earth. Islamic State fighter seize western Iraqi town, says officials. What did Obama really say about the Crusades? The war on Jeb Bush. Frustrated Republicans taste limits of majority control. GOP contender Walker draws Wall Street cash. February 14th, 2015. Gunman attack event attended by cartoonist who depicted Muhammad. 2 dead in shootings at New Orleans Mardi Gras parade. This woman will soon become the first openly bisexual governor in American history. Graham's consideration of 2016 upends South Carolina landscape. Jeb Bush doesn't want to talk about brother-led wars. Obama intends to run through the tape. Rep. Blake Farenthold denies many of former press aide's accusations. The wacky world of Wu, the tortured history of Gamergate's self-styled feminist martyr. Money makes crazy. Google boss warns of forgotten century with email and photos at risk. February 15th, 2015. 2 deadly shootings within hours in Copenhagen, 5 wounded. Bill Clinton's libido threatens to derail Hillary again. Bill Clinton apologizes to Mexico for war on drugs. As Dynasty's son, Jeb Bush used his connections freely. Female Thor is what happens when progressive hand-wringing and misandry ruin a cherished art form. February 16th, 2015. Libya and Egypt launch airstrikes against ISIS after militants post beheading videos. Mother of 4 shot in road rage horror while teaching daughter to drive dies as grieving husband vows to find mystery killer. Judge challenging Alabama Chief Justice Roy Moore on gay marriage. We're on the right side of history. CIA is said to have bought and destroyed Iraqi chemical weapons. Boehner certainly prepared to let DHS funding expire. Democrats to be at fault if Homeland money ends, says Boehner. Surveyors to announce Washington Monument's new official shorter height. Scott Walker's national education effect. Union president calls for chief's resignation over defaced fallen officer memorial. Let's see her emails. February 17th, 2015. Anger of suspect in Danish killing is seen as only loosely tied to Islam. Federal judge stalls Obama's executive action on immigration. A federal judge just put the brakes on Obama's immigration actions. Islamic State expands despite U.S.-led air campaign. Pro-Iran militia's success in Iraq could undermine U.S. Russian researchers expose breakthrough U.S. spying program. President Rand Paul, Wall Street on high alert. Poll says blame for DHS shutdown would fall to GOP. Dems will splinter on trade deals. February 18th, 2015. State Department spokesman floats jobs as answer to ISIS. Rudy Giuliani says President Obama doesn't love America. Hillary Clinton privately seeks the favor of Elizabeth Warren. What women's backers think about her meeting with Hillary Clinton. Jeb Bush says, I love my father and my brother, but I am my own man. Inside Jeb Bush's shock and awe launch. Joe Biden's woman-touching habit. Holder calls for halt to U.S. executions. Foreign government gifts to Clinton Foundation on the rise. Millennials ditching their TV sets at a record rate. February 19th, 2015. Faulted for avoiding Islamic labels to describe terrorism, White House cites a strategic logic. Obama refuses to acknowledge Muslim terrorists at summit. Do Americans want to send ground troops to fight ISIS? Jeb says there were mistakes in Iraq. Clinton Foundation's global network overlaps with family's political base. Swing state voters not feeling community college plan or Obama in general, poll says. Greece submits request for loan extension from skeptical Eurozone. Electrical car benefits? Just myths. February 20th, 2015. Giuliani questions Obama's love of U.S. Democrats cry foul. Giuliani says Obama had a white mother, so I'm not a racist. Bill O'Reilly has his own Brian Williams problem. Bill O'Reilly says Mother Jones report garbage. Chris Christie losing home state donors as Jeb Bush makes inroads. Apple wants to start producing cars as soon as 2020. Ukraine says UK and EU badly misread Russia. Germany softens tone ahead of crunch Greek debt talks. NYPD's idea of reform included breath mints and baby oil. Kim Jong-un has an amazing new haircut. We have many, many questions. February 21st, 2015. Hillary Clinton begins process of vetting. Herself. Unwelcome Matt. White House tries to counter Netanyahu visit. Obama to seek emergency order restarting immigration programs. U.S. says major offensive planned against ISIS in Mosul this spring. Yemen's former leader flees to Aden. Jeb Bush chooses to be cross-examined at CPAC. 2 House bills would end federal prohibition of marijuana. The danger of being neighborly without a permit. 120-year-old record low broken in D.C., one of many today and in the past week. February 22nd, 2015. Rudy Giuliani's Obama critique puts 2016ers in a bind. Walker says he is unaware whether Obama is a Christian. Walker feeling the heat. Dems say this is why we lost in 2014. Here's what the DNC thinks will help Democrats win more elections. America's most influential thinker on race. Deeper ties to corporate cash for doubtful climate researchers. At least 500 people turn up at Muslim cemetery for burial of Copenhagen gunman despite objections from Islamic group that owns it. February 23rd, 2015. Jeb Bush's brainless trust. Documents show the expensive taste of Jeb Bush's low-key wife. Rudy Giuliani says my bluntness overshadowed my message. New ISIS video shows Kurdish Peshmerga soldiers in cages in Iraq. Homeland Security fight goes into crunch time. President Obama's cyber pitch misses mark in Silicon Valley. Swiss account secret of HSBC chief Stuart Gulliver revealed. Honda CEO Ito to step down, replaced by low-profile engineer. Skulls of early humans show they developed compassion up to 3 million years ago before they could even speak. February 24th, 2015. VA Secretary Robert McDonald falsely claimed he served in Special Forces. Bill O'Reilly and Fox News redouble defense on his Falklands reporting. CBS has released the Falklands protest footage Bill O'Reilly asked for. It doesn't support his claims. Bill O'Reilly threatens New York Times reporter. Eric Garner's daughter on Al Sharpton. He's all about the money. On Homeland Security funding, Republicans govern without logic. Lawmaker challenging Mall of America's gun policy after threat. Boehner and McConnell say pipeline veto purely political. GOP gets bad news on Obamacare repeal plan. Scott Walker criticizes media's gotcha moments. February 25th, 2015. Obama aide calls Netanyahu's planned visit destructive to U.S.-Israel ties. Netanyahu invites Arab diplomats to his big speech and gets rejected. Pressure centers on House GOP on Homeland Security bill. Wright turns fire on McConnell. Obama says Keystone Pipeline bill has earned my veto. U.S. military vehicles paraded 300 yards from the Russian border. Hillary's State Department okayed Bill's big money speeches. GOP pollster explains why Republicans need record minority support to win in 2016. Adam Baldwin could have been the latest victim of the censorious left. February 26, 2015. IS militant Jihadi John named as Mohammed Emwazi from London. O'Reilly also lied about witnessing nun's execution in El Salvador, report claims. Foreign governments gave millions to foundation while Clinton was at State Department. Does Hillary Clinton have anything to say? Adieu, Chris Christie, adieu. Scott Walker says he can take on ISIS because he took on labor unions. Governor Scott Walker says, I refuse to take the media's bait. Is Washington ready for the death of Obamacare? Republicans suspect the White House is hiding Obamacare fallback plan. Jay Carney to Amazon. February 27, 2015. Putin critic, Russian opposition leader Boris Nemtsov killed in Moscow. Chaos in House as lawmakers reject DHS bill, shutdown nears. John Boehner scrambles for Plan V. House will vote Friday to prevent Homeland Security shutdown. Scott Walker denies comparing liberal protesters to terrorists. Wisconsin, workers, and the 2016 election. Eric Holder's parting shot. It's too hard to bring civil rights cases. ISIS fighters destroy ancient artifacts at Mosul Museum. Investigators probing for criminal activity with Lois Lerner's missing emails. What colors are this dress? February 28, 2015. White House offers rebuttal before Netanyahu's speech. Former U.S. Rep. Rick Renzi reports to prison for 3-year term.